This is your last presentation of the semester, and I'm going to take you on a quick tour so you know what to do. It's a short week, and there's a lot of important information at the end of this presentation to prepare you to finish the course successfully. Our topic this week is making a difference for children, and this is Chapter 16 in your text. We're going to start with looking at your own lives, and I want you to think about an influential teacher. A teacher that influenced not just your academic development, but your emotional development or your social development because of moral and ethical decisions that they made in the classroom. So go on over to Padlet by clicking right here, and it will take you to the board where you can share about that influential teacher. Then we're going to go into our text and look at the section called A Day in the Life. Within our text, it describes the day in the life of a teacher for the different age groups that we've studied this semester. Our age groups are infants and toddlers, preschoolers, kindergartners, and primary school teachers. So think about the age of learner that you think you would most like to work with. And I'd like you to read that section in the textbook, and it's listed right here, the page numbers you'll have to skim. Then, for each of the age levels, find the age level that you are interested in and read on this chart. So this is a little chart of the pros and cons of teaching these ages. After your readings, determine what you think will be the best part of your job and the worst part of your job. And then describe how you will react to both of them as a professional educator. Share your reactions and also what you think is the best and worst of the job by clicking here and heading to our Padlet board. In the beginning of the semester, you signed the NAEYC Code of Ethical Conduct, and we have basically learned how to uphold that over the course of the semester. In your text, it really gives specifics as to what this means for your moral and ethical judgment in the classroom, and also your judgment as a professional and the legal aspect of it. I'd like you to read that section in your textbook, and then I'd like you to either watch one or all of the videos. They're pretty short, they're about 2 or 3 minutes, but they all have examples of teachers making the wrong decision. I don't know how else to say it. Being a teacher is challenging. You're working with little people, and if many of you are parents, and you know that a child that is upset, or a child that is frustrated, or a child that does not have self-control. When you spend hours and hours with these children, it's sometimes hard to not get frustrated yourself or not get angry yourself. We always want to make decisions that are ethical, though, and moral and professional. So I'd like you to view one or more of these videos, and I'd like you to really think about the NAEYC Code of Conduct and how it's been violated in each of these videos. And then put yourself in the teacher's shoes and really think about what it would be like to a teacher in this situation. What was the trigger that made them feel so frustrated or so angry that they did what they did? And then I'd like you to describe how you would put yourself in their shoes and how you would make the right decision, and share that on our Padlet board. Part of being a NAEYC professional is being an advocate for the children in our care, and really an advocate for all children. Read this slide about advocacy and look at the qualities of an effective advocate. And then in your textbook on page 523, read figure 16.1. And this is going to just reiterate how to become an informed advocate. And we're going to try that out in our advocacy project that you'll learn about in a few slides. Part of being an effective advocate is identifying abuse in children. So I wonder, could you really identify those signs and symptoms of abuse? Read the table 16.5, which is on page 524 of your text, and then watch this video to learn more about identifying abuse and neglect in children. Now that we know the signs and symptoms of abuse, we need to advocate for protection of children in these cases. Teachers are legally mandated as reporters of child abuse. This falls under the Pennsylvania law, but it also falls under NAEYC's Code of Conduct for our ethical responsibilities. This also means that if a child and youth do not follow up or do not take a child out of a situation that you find concerning, NACCE's Code of Conduct says you need to be persistent and advocate some more for that child. Do you know the procedures for reporting abuse in Pennsylvania? This video is the new updated version of what it means to be a mandated reporter, and there have been some changes in 2015 and 16, so watch the video and learn the procedure for being a mandated reporter. Now is your chance to try it out. I want you to become an advocate for the children in your care and for all children. So we're going to practice this through an advocacy project. I want you to head into D2L and view the advocacy project handout and also look at the sample letter, and then watch this video and it will give you directions on the project. This is a 3-part project. It has a paragraph, it has a letter, and it has a follow-up paragraph, and everything is due in the Dropbox by May 2nd. Something else is going to be due coming up here on May 2nd is your final observation reflection. At this point, you have completed 10 hours of observation for the course, and now I'd like you to reflect on the overall experience. You can read the questions right here from this slide, or you can head into D2L in the project folder, and it also has this handout. Just write answers to questions 1 through 4 and Dropbox that by May 2nd. Also due on May 2nd is your PreProfessional Portfolio. This was introduced to you at the start of the semester, but if you need a refresher, here I've included the video again. Basically, it's a compilation of everything we've done over the course of the semester. It has your observations, it has your projects, your lesson plan, it has your NACCE standards that are signed, it has all the observation forms that prove that you did your 10 hours. Everything that we've done, basically, you're going to compile. Now, since we're online, this means you're compiling it electronically. And on the project handout in D2L that is explained on this video, I've given you 4 or 5 options for places to go to make an electronic portfolio. If you need support in any way on this, you can give me a phone call. It's much too hard to describe to you online, so please give me a phone call if you get stuck. Some of those websites are more user-friendly than others, so depending on your proficiency with technology, there are definitely easier and more difficult choices. But this project will end up, you'll have your own website that showcases your work in most cases, and you're just going to Dropbox me the web address to your completed project. Again, if you have any questions with the PreProfessional Portfolio, please give me a phone call. Last but not least, and it's not due on May 2nd, is our final activity. We are not having a final exam, but we are doing a final activity, and it will basically be going over everything we've learned this semester and allow you to show me the application of the skills. As a teacher, I don't want you to be able to memorize everything that we learned. A lot of the things you have access to look them up. I'm an advocate that believes that it's more important to understand something than be able to memorize it because we want to be able to use it when we need to. So this is going to be an application activity. It's not going to be lengthy, but I do want you to look over this study guide. Now, my disclaimer is not everything on this study guide is going to be part of the final activity. But if there's anything on the study guide that you don't know how to answer quickly, I would say look over that section, either revisit the presentation, look in your textbook, go over notes that you may have taken, and at that point, you'll be prepared to complete the final activity quickly. This handout is also on D2L. It's at the very bottom folder, which is entitled Finals Week folder, and it's under Final Activity. So if you want to revisit this in a bigger form, that's where you can find it. I'm going to introduce the actual activity for the final on May 2nd, and then it will be due the following Sunday. So I will introduce it on a Monday, and you'll have basically the week to complete it. It will be due on or before May 9th. That wraps up our everything pretty much. So for this week's participation grade, you have 3 online Padlets, slide 2, slide 3, and slide 4. And then to wrap up the semester, you have your advocacy project, your final observation, reflection, and your pre-professional portfolio all due on May 2nd. And then at that point on May 2nd, you will receive information on the final activity that will be due on May 9th. So start wrapping everything up. Again, if you have questions, something simple, send me an email. But if you really have questions, you want to have something explained to you in greater detail, please give me a call and I will work that out with you over the phone.